Hey guys, it's Emma and today I'm going to be reviewing Throne of Glass. This review is going to be done in two sections. The first section is going to be completely non-spoilery, and then I'll let you know when the non-spoiler section is done so you can leave if you haven't read the book. And then the second part's going to be more of a conversation, a bit of a list of things that I enjoyed from the book. So let's get started. I loved this book. Throne of Glass is written by Sarah J. Maas, and it is the first in a 6-book high fantasy young adult series, and it is incredible. It follows Celaena Sardothien, who is this chick right here, and she's 18 years old. She was the best assassin in her land, but she was caught and sent to a salt mine slave / death camp where she was for a year. And then the king decides he wants his own personal assassin. So he decides to have a contest where 23 or 24, I'm not sure exactly how many, around there, of the best criminals or soldiers or assassins like Celaena can compete to be the king's champion. And if Celaena wins, she has to serve the king as his champion for 4 years, and then she gets her freedom. So obviously she's very keen to jump on that because she doesn't want to be a slave anymore and she just wants to be free. So yeah, it just follows her as she is in the castle competing against these other people trying to be the king's champion so that she can be set free. Like I said before, I absolutely loved this book. I love Celaena. She's such a good main character. She's really well developed and she isn't like the typical teenage girl heroine in young adult books. She's really developed. She has such a complex life, and you just learning about her life is so heartbreaking and touching, and she's just an amazing character. The world in this book is absolutely incredible. I'm not normally the biggest fan of high fantasy books because it does take a lot to get involved and invested in the world. But as soon as I started reading about this land, I was so invested in it and I just wanted to learn more. And it definitely doesn't take away from the story because obviously it's the first book in a series, so there has to be a lot of world building. And there is a lot of world building in this book, but it doesn't take away from the story, and it's not just in a huge chunk. So you don't just have like 3 chapters in a row that are just backstory and world building. It's just really spread out throughout the whole book, so that was really good. And I just love the world. I just think that it's so developed and I just love it, and I just can't wait to read more about it in the next book. Well, there is a love triangle that is brewing in this book, and normally that is kind of a bad thing for me. I'm not the biggest fan of love triangles, but I think that this love triangle will be a really good one. So if you're not a fan of love triangles, don't let that turn you off this book because it's not a huge factor. In fact, it's probably not even mentioned at all in this book that she likes 2 people, really. It's definitely in the background, 100% in the background, and you won't even notice it if you don't want to notice it. Throne of Glass has really short chapters and the plot is super fast paced, so it's really easy to read and really easy to get through it. I read it in about 2 days, and I'm a pretty slow reader. Like, I don't read anywhere near as much as other people on BookTube do because it just takes me so much longer to get through a book, and I still managed to get through this book in 2 days. So if you're a slow reader or if you don't read very often, this book is probably something that you'll enjoy because it is super easy to get into and super easy to get through. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I know that it has a 4.17 average rating on Goodreads, and 47% of people gave it 5 stars, which is a lot more than usual, and 93% of people liked it. So if you're at the end of this review and you're still not sure about whether you want to watch it or not, there's some pretty good statistics. 93% of people liked it. That's a hell of a lot of people who like this book. So you should probably check it out, even if you are a bit hesitant, because you'll probably like it. So that's all for the non-spoiler section. If you are interested in this book, I have done a full non-spoiler review on my blog, which I will leave a link to in the description below, and I'll also leave a link to the Goodreads page for this book, so if you want to find out more about it, or read a more in-depth synopsis, you should go check it out. I would definitely recommend this book. It's so easy to read, it's so much fun, and I absolutely loved it. So please read it and let me know what you think. Now on to the spoiler section of this review. If you haven't read the book, make sure you leave because I don't want to spoil you, because this book is so fantastic. You need to read it for yourself and discover it. All these things that I'm about to talk about on your own. So go read the book and then come back and let's get started. I wish Celaena and Nox formed a more solid alliance, because they do have sort of an alliance. They look out for each other, and Celaena did save his life that time when they were climbing up the castle walls. But I just wish that they had a more solid alliance. I wish they helped each other out more. I just wish we got to see more of their relationship before Nox had to flee so he didn't die. I also wish that there was more coverage of the test, and I know that this is something that I've seen in a lot of reviews for this book on BookTube. Another thing that really annoyed me is Celaena's lack of communication with Nehemia. Seriously, lack of communication is one of my pet peeves in books. It is so easy to talk to the person. It's so easy to just have a conversation. And at the end, Celaena was feeling really ashamed when she discovered that Nehemia was innocent and was trying to protect her. See, all of that shame could have been easily avoided if you just had asked her. In terms of the brewing love triangle, I am still pretty undecided about what team I'm on at the moment. I do like Chaol a lot better than I like Dorian, because I think Chaol understands Celaena a lot more, because they both come from military backgrounds, and although they obviously lead very different lives and they have very different understandings and everything, I think Chaol kind of understands who Celaena is a lot better than what Dorian does. So at this point, I don't know what side I'm on. I don't really have an opinion about it, because obviously in Throne of Glass, Chaol is not a romantic interest for Celaena. Not really. They're just kind of really good friends. They're really close. And you can see the kind of romantic tension there a little bit, and they're kind of flirty a couple of times, but she's so focused on Dorian and her freedom that she doesn't really look at Chaol like that. So it's kind of hard to make a judgment when you haven't seen her with both of the characters. But I do hope that this love triangle grows to be really strong, like the one in the Infernal Devices trilogy. I hope that this love triangle is similar to that, because I loved that love triangle. It was perfection. It was flawless. I really hope that this love triangle grows into be as good as that one. Another thing that I really wanted to mention is that the king and his youngest son Hollin are absolute dicks, and I was so glad that the king was gone for the majority of the book, and the same with Hollin. When I thought Hollin was going to be coming home, I was so angry. Well, I wasn't angry, but I was really frustrated, because he's just such a bad person and he's so annoying, and I haven't even heard anything about him except that he's been shipped away because he was an arsehole to some of his slaves. So I'm glad that there was an avalanche and that he couldn't come back home, and I'm glad that the king was gone the whole time. I don't really remember what he was doing, and I don't really care, because he's a really bad person, and I hope that he stays away. So that's all for this book review of Throne of Glass. I absolutely love this book, and I hope that you see this review and that you love it too. Let me know what you think about this book if you've already read it in the comments below. Let me know what your favourite parts were and what do you think about the brewing love triangle. And I will see you all in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.